Did you know that the raspberry isn't actually a berry according to botanical classification? Yes, you heard that right. The raspberry, a fruit we've all casually referred to as a berry, is in fact a misnomer. Now, you might be wondering what a berry is. In botanical terms, a berry is a fleshy fruit produced from a single ovary. Think of grapes, tomatoes, or bananas. Now let's look at the raspberry. It's a composite of dozens of tiny stone-like fruits, each derived from a separate ovary, all attached to a white cone-shaped core. This makes raspberries what's known as an aggregate fruit, not a true berry. It's fascinating, isn't it? How language and common usage can sometimes mislead us from the actual scientific facts. So, if raspberries aren't berries, then what are they? In the botanical world, raspberries are known as aggregate fruits. That's right. These little red marvels are not berries as we commonly believe. So, what exactly is an aggregate fruit, you might ask? Well, it's a fruit that develops from multiple ovaries within a single flower. Each of these ovaries matures into a small drupelette, and these drupelets cluster together to form the raspberry we all know and love. Picture a raspberry in your mind. Notice how it's composed of dozens of tiny juice-filled bubbles. Each of those bubbles is, in fact, a drupelette. Each drupelette is a small fruit in its own right, each housing its own seed. That's right, each of those little bubbles you're imagining is a fruit with its own seed, all joined together to form the whole raspberry. This is where raspberries differ from what we typically think of as berries. A berry, in the botanical sense, grows from a single ovary and usually contains multiple seeds. So, your garden variety raspberry is actually a cluster of many tiny fruits, rather than a single fruit like a berry. Each drupelette develops from a separate ovary of the flower. This is why we classify raspberries as an aggregate fruit. The term aggregate refers to the way these fruits are formed, from a group or aggregate of ovaries within a single flower. It's quite fascinating, isn't it? The humble raspberry, a staple of summer picnics and a favorite flavor of jams, jellies, and desserts, is actually a complex collection of tiny fruits. Each one, a marvel of nature's design, coming together to create something greater than the sum of its parts. But don't let this new classification change your opinion about this delightful fruit. Whether you see it as a berry or an aggregate fruit, the raspberry remains as delicious and nutritious as ever. And isn't that what truly matters? Despite not being a berry, raspberries are still packed with health benefits. These ruby red delights are a powerhouse of nutrients. They're rich in dietary fiber, providing a generous amount of this crucial nutrient that aids digestion. But that's not all. Raspberries are also loaded with vitamin C, a potent antioxidant that bolsters the immune system and promotes skin health. Raspberries are also recognized for their anti-inflammatory properties. Thanks to the presence of antioxidants and phytonutrients, they help to reduce inflammation in the body, making them a great addition to a health-conscious diet. But the benefits of raspberries extend beyond just health. Their sweet, slightly tart flavor makes them a popular ingredient in a variety of dishes. They can be used to create mouth-watering desserts or flavorful jams. They even make a delightful accompaniment to tea, adding a burst of flavor and a touch of elegance. So whether you call it a berry or an aggregate fruit, the raspberry remains a delicious and healthy choice. So we've learned today that the raspberry, contrary to popular belief, isn't a berry. It's a fascinating twist in the tale of this crimson delight. Botanically classified as an aggregate fruit, the raspberry is a collection of dozens of fused drupelets attached to a white conical receptacle. This tiny powerhouse is not just a feast for the taste buds, but also a treasure trove of health benefits. It's packed with vitamin C, antioxidants, and other beneficial compounds. With its anti-inflammatory properties, it's a natural remedy that's as delightful as it is beneficial. And let's not forget its culinary versatility. From desserts to jams, the raspberry adds a touch of sweetness to our plates and our lives. Whether it's a tart raspberry pie or a comforting cup of raspberry tea, this aggregate fruit brings joy in every bite and sip. Next time you enjoy a raspberry, remember its unique botanical identity and the health benefits it brings to your table.
Watch the following video about vegetables. Maybe you will learn something new and useful for a diet of healthy food. For better health and longevity.